awakened mind is the actual state of everything. It exhibits an unceasing quality. Whatever arises in all its variety is naturally and clearly apparent. Evident within pure basic space, the true nature of phenomena. There is no division or exclusion. The mode of awareness is without restriction. Unobstructed, timeless awareness, a naturally occurring spacious expanse, is utterly lucid, unobscured, with no division into outer and inner. And so self-knowing awareness is the great radiant mirror of mind. Since everything occurs naturally without having to be sought, naturally occurring timeless awareness is the splendid source of all one could wish for. Longchen Rabjam, the precious treasury of the basic space of phenomena. This is Darren Littlejohn. Welcome to the 12-Step Buddhist Podcast, episode 80. Easy Does It Dharma, and concluding practices of a bodhisattva with number 37. To clear away the suffering of all infinite beings with superior knowledge free of concepts of the three spheres. To dedicate the merit accumulated through these efforts to enlightenment is the practice of a bodhisattva. Getting back on track without a lung attack. Lung is energy in Tibetan Buddhism, Tibetan medicine to be more specific. When we have a moment outside the window of tolerance for our stress level, which we discuss in the first chapters of my most recent book, Compassionate Recovery. When we understand what's going on in the mechanisms of stress and types of stress, how that affects our nervous system, and the different neurotransmitters involved, just briefly, conceptually, to get a grip of the understanding. And then we can understand the parts of the brain and how that relates to how we feel, what we see, how we perceive the world, how we respond, how we enter the world every day. And this gives us, with mindfulness, affords us the opportunity to apply the Dharma in such a way as that the mindfulness comes down into the deeper level. Instead of, if you think of mindfulness starting as the egg, and you go through the shell, and then the embryo material, the white matter, you go through the different layers and levels, probably reverse that. The point being that mindfulness of an object, wherein there's a me, and there's an object to be aware of. This is where we begin. This is the tool of mindfulness to begin to cultivate awareness. Mindfulness isn't in and of itself a thing. It's a tool. It's a step. It's part of the path. It's a requirement and a necessity of the path, but it's not an end to itself. So to clear away the suffering of all infinite beings, we have to understand everything that we've talked about this whole time for months and years, in the books, in the teachings, infinite beings. If we have a hard time conceiving of infinite beings, it's too bad. It's not that hard to really think about. Just understanding the spot you're in. How old is the earth? How many things are living right now on a micro level, not just the things you see. How many things are going to come and go in the next infinite years? How many births, sickness, old age, and death cycles have occurred for how many beings? A meditation, as we always have known, just think back to how did your cup of coffee get there? Take it back every single moment between that drink hitting your lips and that satisfying and delicious first morning taste. Love it. How did it get there? Where did it start? Really, where it started. Keep going back to where it started. We understand dependent origination, impermanence, ultimately emptiness. But to understand the Four Noble Truths, the truth of suffering, the pervasiveness of suffering, really the subjectivity of suffering, the resistance to suffering, as we've been talking. We're going to go into this again, and we're going to go into it more deeply in the next text that we go through. It's up on the podcast.compassionaterecovery.us site with the show notes. So we understand all this by the time we get here to number 37 on the Bodhisattva path. We started the path at the beginning of the Mahayana, which isn't necessarily the end of the Hinayana, but it's overlapping and merging. You can have never seen a Hinayana teaching and started a Mahayana path. So it encompasses these, and there's crossover and overlap. but we take into consideration the suffering of others. So to me, the Hinayana is of no value in that sense, unless it's in just an instant, I got to save my own ass moment. I got to get out of the fire so that I don't wind up in the frying pan again, such as remove myself from a situation where my toxicity, my addictions, my attachments, my delusions, illusions, subjective desires, fantasies, objects that I think should be protected, people, things to acquire, things to reject and get rid of. And the whole scope of how many beings have lived and how many moments beings have lived in each of their lifespans, whether how short or how long, just to comprehend the amount of suffering that you experience in a day, in a moment, in the last few moments, doing your 4-step inventory, in therapy, trying to get clean and sober, looking at your childhood, trying to be in a relationship, etc., wherever our areas are. So we have this knowledge by now. I can't stop and go back for you and go through it all. You understand that all the beings are suffering. Beings are infinite. Still, I vow to save them all. It's one of those paradoxical Buddhist short-circuit the mind kind of things. And so here, let it short-circuit the mind long enough to observe our own sort of stupidity. And let that confusion be a lesson to you. Let that confusion be an opportunity to let go of the bullshit, let go of the attachment, and go, now that I'm kind of confused, kind of rattled for a second, can I use my illusion, like the famous magician Doug Henning would say. I should grab a clip of that, but I'm not grabbing it right now. I'll hit you with that at some point. So with superior knowledge, we have superior knowledge which is free of the 3 spheres. There's different interpretations at different levels of teaching. In fact, even within categories of teachings, I'm a participant in a retreat, as I've been a participant in a dozen retreats this past year, in the past 12 months or so. This one starts for me at 3 a.m. and goes until 9:30 a.m. with a 90-minute break in there. We're talking about categories within categories and levels within levels. So there's meaning and there's shades of meaning. There's light and there are shades of light. Bern Hogarth, shades of shadow and light, if you've ever done any kind of drawing on the right side of the brain and that kind of stuff. The 3 spheres in our case here, in our interpretation, as we look at it from this view, is subject, object, and action. There's a me who's hurting. Oh, I got needs. My old AA sponsor, John C., used to say, elevate your needs to wants, meaning, it looks like you're elevating in reverse there, but you elevate it by not needing it, it's better for you. It's a higher thing to just let it be a want. Hey, that would be great. But we have our needs and demands, which we impose and superimpose. We show up with all our baggage to every moment, hiding, fighting, rejecting, not facing, being terrified of the reality of the true spirit, of universality, of Buddha nature, not embracing our own Buddhahood, our own magnificence. Thanks to Gary McPherson, the late counselor in my early years of the O'Connor Hospital, 1984, Campbell, California. Did I get sidetracked? So we're talking about the 3 spheres subject. There's a me, a thing that needs, and there's a thing that I need. That's the object. It's my drug. I need my drug. Got to get my drug. Got a lot of reasons. I got so many ways to get around any reason that you could come up with for me to not get my drug. You're not equipped. You are not equipped to deny me my drug. Period. It's kind of addict. I am. I want what I want. So that's the action, is seeking it. And we talked a little bit in Compassionate Recovery about Jim Hopper's ideas of the key brain circuitries, and the seeking circuitry is the one that has enabled us to evolve, to find things that we need, like food, and be aware of dangers, and so on and so forth, to move towards safety and towards food and away from risk for our survival. So we have this thing and we have this need, and it's built into us primally. And if we understand what's going on at the level of our brain chemistry and parts of our brain and parts of ourselves and how those relate to our experience, how it relates to your experience right now in this moment, we discuss this in depth, take the application of the 12-step Buddhist into compassion recovery and bring it into your own heart. If you're a treatment provider, contact me. I'll have you as a guest, send you a copy of the book. We understand that there's a me, a junkie, and there's a drug, and there's me going after it. And those are the three spheres. So the superior knowledge would be to be free of any concepts, let alone the three spheres. But really the ultimate, the down and dirty Dharma, the easy does it Dharma, is getting into the me and the you and the thing that I need, and the interest, the desire, the obsession, the attachment, the hook. We cut that dualism, which is the three spheres, the me, the drug, and the going towards it, the directional movement towards something. There's a me that exists somewhere as a point in space, and there's a thing I need out there. So in our practice, we can work to this superior knowledge that this is empty space, pure, it's open, it's continuous. Our awareness is pure and open and continuous, uninterrupted. Never born, never died, never created. It can't be touched, can't be moved. It's always there. Your Buddha seat is there. It's a diamond throne. Sit in it. Assume the diamond vajra stance of your own lucidity. Let beams of light radiate from your being. Beams of rainbow light, infinite rainbow light, integrating with all light and all the cosmos, and all phenomena is frozen light. So anything that's not space, anything that seems to be matter is just light. Hear the sound. Listen to the listener listening. Jump back. Hey! Who's listening to the listener, listening to the listener, listening to the listener, listening to the listener? Superior knowledge is to know we don't got to be hooked into the samsaric determination. How do we play it easy when we're hyper from our drama, from our trauma, when we're coming in fighting, scratching and clawing? Either that or we're a whooped cat laying on the ground, belly up. Do what you need to do. Okay, fine, I'll follow orders. Stay sober, don't question anything. Great, you can do that. Either way, passive or aggressive, however our trauma has manifested for us. Either way, passive or aggressive, or any degree therein. Not that it's a judgment, whether we're taking action or not taking action. We usually come in, we got to have some fight left in it. So how do we easy go? How do we easy does it? How do we apply that? How do we get easy? Be mo easy by easy mo be. That's the Miles Davis. We have this idea of being easy. Well, there's nothing more easy than being free of the subject who wants the object and needs to crave it and desire it. The way to cut through this is the chud practice. Letting go of the body, letting go of body, voice, and mind. Offering, not just letting go, but giving it willingly to everybody who wants it. It's like a super advanced Tonglen, but you're not just doing exchanging of self and others with one being, which is hardcore. I've done it. I've done it to the point of sobbing. You're doing it with all beings. You're saying, take my body, take everything. Here, is there more that I can serve you? It's like making an amends on the cosmic level. How can I make it up to you? Everybody I owe through infinite, beginningless lifetimes of killing all beings, running and scraping for food in various different realms in the Buddhist cosmological, seems sort of fantastical, but the realms, pretty easily understood. We all know the Hungry Ghost realm. Big famous book about it. Not a huge fan, but I'm really an addict, and I really have come from this suffering. So I like the perspective of somebody who has felt the pain and understands the wounds and how to get through it. This is how you get through it. The superior knowledge is to know that it's all just empty space. Have an inhale. Let go of everything that you think is solid in you. Just let it go. Don't push it out. Be empty, be easy, be free. We got to learn to let ourselves be still enough to notice our triggers, notice the vibrations, notice the humming, notice the things that are agitating to us, and to try to work with it. And if it's very, very difficult for you to sit still due to trauma or other issues, attention, so forth, do a movement practice, a tai chi, a yoga. There's a lot of options. You can be a climber. Climbing is pretty graceful, amazing. Cycling, people do many, many activities to find the Zen within themselves. It's integration between body, energy, and mind. So we dedicate the merit. We know before we start in the Mahayana and the Great Path, the path of great, it's nothing greater than everything. We're dedicating everything that we accumulate to every being that's ever suffered, that's suffering, and that's going to suffer. All the beings, all the realms, and all the dimensions, seen or unseen. Whether we think of them or not, we know they're there, and we know it's there, and we know that we're doing this practice. I and all beings take refuge in the Buddha. I and all beings take refuge in the Dharma. I and all beings take refuge in the Sangha. Or, I and all beings are enlightened from the beginning. For this reason, I cultivate supreme bodhicitta. And again, this superior knowledge, there's superior knowledge in different categories, in different contexts, based on different capacities, rather, of beings. We have different, there isn't just one definition for anything. If you know anything Sanskrit at all, in Chinese, there are just pages for some characters and symbols and words. And sometimes there aren't really any good definitions. So we have to understand, we accumulate by our intention, we build all this karma, we understand karma from the early stages of our Buddhist knowledge, and our application of it is to do works for others, and to just ask for nothing, and to just be anonymous, and to dedicate the merits. Like, of myself, I am nothing. The Father doeth the works. Take this Christian mystical perspective into, we must abandon ourselves completely. Let go of old ideas. The result was nil until we let go. Absolutely. What does it mean? This is what it means. This superior knowledge is to know that there's a me, there's all my debts, there's all my attachments, there's all my accumulations of negativity. I'm going to offer every single bit of it. It's almost like, it's like you're a kamikaze Dharma practitioner diving into the sphere of empty space, knowing there's no one to dive, there's nowhere to dive to, not being terrified, have an inhale. Feel the warm ocean, exhale. Know your Buddha seat. There's no separation. Sit in it. It's already self-perfected. It says the Dzogchen teaching. This is a different application than other systems. So because we've acquired a lot of merit, we did so because we set up with our intention. We set up the practice session with our intention. We accumulated a lot for everybody. It's like I'm going berry picking for all the beings that are starving little berry buggies that got to eat berries, little berry buggers, and you're going to go get as many berries as you can, and then you're going to not even eat any berries. You're going to give all the berries to all the little berry baby buggers. Accumulation of merit and your dedication of merit. And we dedicate it all because we have no more attachment, because we understand this Dharma. To work on it and to apply it and to walk the talk, to practice these principles in all of our affairs, such as says this 12th step in AA, this is the practice of a bodhisattva. We dedicate the merit. And what do we dedicate it to? We dedicate the merit of our practice to the enlightenment and the total liberation of all beings. Not just that they have a better day. So how does easy does it apply to Dharma? You got to learn to chill the fuck out, people. And I'm telling you this as a manic person all my life. I don't say it from preaching from a hilltop. I have moments of just People have said to me, "Oh my God, you? What do you mean you?" And I'm like, "Well, you don't know. I mean, I grew up getting screamed at and having my hair pulled and getting smacked in the face and being told, basically mocked for existing. So I have some issues, some response issues in the brain, and I can't help it. Sometimes I have to take a pill. And sometimes, I have to start, going back to a more high-intensity interval training program and better breathing and reworking some of my yoga into what, you apply, change your diet a little bit, etc. Just apply and work with the circumstances. The circumstances of us being addicts in recovery with high ACEs, and these are the people I'm speaking to. If you don't know what that means, go to .us. You can take the little ACE score. You can grab a copy of Compassionate Recovery. It tells you all about that, how to do it. But when you get into that, I'm talking to the people that have a high ACE score, people in recovery with ACEs. Really, these are the primary folks, you, that I'm talking to. I'm talking to you because I'm talking to me, in my heart to yours. So how do we apply the easy-going approach? First, you got to learn how to chill. You got to get your mess of your life calmed down a little bit. Take a pill if you need to, but don't overly rely on it. Use your doctor's advice and so forth. And learn to do what you need to do to meet your needs so that you're not in a frantic state. And then, you can apply some of this stuff. Maybe you spend the first few years of recovery just learning how to, pay your bills, learning how to show up, learning how to get up and suit up and show up. Or like me, still trying to learn to sit down and shut up. There's two things in Longchenpa's The precious treasury of pith instructions that I'd like to leave you with as we conclude the 37 practices of a bodhisattva. This will summarize kind of how we should approach the teaching and a little bit on how we should work with the teaching. A pith instruction called listening to teachings correctly. Listening to teachings correctly has 6 marvelous effects. You become imbued with sublime wisdom and remain sincerely committed to truth. You come to rely on spiritual mentors and listen to their teachings insatiably. You come to rely on many guides, delighting these wise teachers. You listen to many teachings, which opens the doorway to myriad spiritual techniques. You listen a great deal, which reinforces your certainty. By listening to, asking about, and investigating many teachings, you will come to hold an ocean-like treasury of the Dharma. Correct meditation. Next, meditating correctly has 6 effects. You are no longer deluded about the way things actually are, and remain free of the extremes of naive affirmation and nihilistic denial. You become a true follower of the Mahayana, integrating your awareness of emptiness with compassion. You come to abide in the ongoing experience of the true nature of reality without the distractions of either mental laxity or agitation. You come to integrate calm abiding with profound insight so that your meditative experiences and realization flourish. You are no longer subject to the constraints of hope or fear, which are the hallmarks of dualistic consciousness. Correct meditation serves as an antidote to the emotional obscurations. One who meditates thus will transcend the conditioned state of existence. And there's a lot to unpack there. We're not gonna unpack it. I want you to go over to the website and take a look at the dedication by Longchenpa. I'm just going to leave that for you to go explore. And we can talk a little bit about the structure of a practice. Maybe as we begin next week, we'll take a look at just structuring a little practice session for yourself and what that means before, during, and after assuming the meditation seat. Thanks as always for listening. Special shout out to the peeps in Australia, one of the highest listener bases. Thank you so much. If you have a question, holler at me. info@compassionaterecovery.us. We'll see you guys around next week as we begin the next stage of our study of compassion and the wisdom of compassion and the Dharmic path of Buddhists in recovery. If I didn't mention it, there are a couple of PDFs up there on the site that are in depth and describe different aspects and applications of Buddhist recovery, written by friends and people in the field that you can take a look at, and it's free and you can read it up there on the site on your phone. It looks real nice. So take a look at that there and go tell a friend about compassionate recovery. Get out there, grab a book, start a little meditation group with it. Take it with you to your therapist. If you're a therapist, if you're a judge, if you're a drug court judge, hit me up. I'll send you a copy right now. info@compassionaterecovery.us. Alrighty, you guys. Appreciate you listening. See you next week. Until then, peace out and namaste.